Hello, can I please talk to Notre Dame today?
Yes, Nostradamus, Mr. Nostradamus, to Joanne is here now. I have been waiting and listening and being very perplexed to the issues that you ladies seem to be processing and going around and round in circles with, shall we say?
Well, thank you so much for being here today. Can I ask you what your day is looking like?
It's rainy here. It has been rainy here. It is heading into more of our winter months at this day and time that I'm speaking to you now. And it does get harder in the wintry seasons. The emotions for people become more challenged, and so it is starting to get to a little bit of a gloomier time of year, but it is all cyclical, and before we know it, we will be having another summer.
Absolutely. Could you tell me how old you are right now?
hmm I'm seeing myself in this day around 52, 53. Um, and so I've just been listening to you talking about my passing. And I do know I have 10 more years ahead of myself. And then obviously, even more. There is no such thing as time. So I am internally living until I no longer can, until all conscious minds have forgotten about me and we're all absorbed into one.
Well, thank you so much for that. Um, could I ask about, let's see, could we revisit year 2039? You mentioned that. Could you tell me about that year?
2039. What part of the planet would you like me to discuss?
Um, where do you see humanity?
Hmm. Well, I see humanity all in all parts of the universe. Humanity is part of all. So, are you wanting to know where the collective is physically, or emotionally, or mentally, or something else? There is a point in your time where you stop counting time, and that is referred to as the end of days. And not because everything ceases to exist, because it is merely you stopping counting time. So I'm curious to know what part you would like to know about.
Um, I would like to know where humanity is residing at that you see at that time.
Um, Comfortably in the fifth dimension, but it is not in the facility of the universe that you are currently in now. So there is a leap, a big leap, and humanity is finding itself um, orphaned, but not orphaned, merely just jumping from one planet's history to a new planet's history. That is for the majority, and that is for who you are asking about, and who you are passionate and caring about, because you are detached from those beings who are wanting to experience the old earth. You are detached from those beings who are just here for a one lifetime vacay hard work. experience, and then go back home or go back to source. Your passion, your focus, your drive is on the evolution of humanity to be able to settle in to the new earth. That is your true question to me.
Thank you for that answer. I'm so grateful. Um, what are you referring to when you mean when you talk about future world?
Mm, wow. Future world, future world, future world. So I would refer that to the future of your world as your collective of humanity. You know, this planet, its future is ending its cycle, and your future world is not this planet as you evolve with it. And so the future world would actually be reference to the new earth.
Okay, thank you so much. Uh, Talking about the future world, um, can you please tell me a little bit about the one world government?
Mm. Well, that tries to be formulated here, but it's not going to be possible. The new systems. I know you like to use that word. The new systems that will be taking place because you are evolved and you are more deeply, profoundly connected to all on this planet. It will be easier to have one governing body. Essentially, you're all going to be responsible in governing yourselves and each other through emotional and physical support systems. So it is easier to have a true organic one government uh, uh, when you are truly one. And humanity is so disconnected, so profoundly disconnected in so many ways, in all ways actually, that it is fractures upon fractures upon fractures. Um, so when you are on the new earth, you're experiencing a oneness that has never been felt before for your awareness. Now we're very much aware that when you are tapping into your other lifetimes, future and past, you have had that experience of that profound oneness. So it is about you evolving. I wanted to say in the skin you're in, but it really isn't in the skin you're in. And so you're evolving with your concepts and with the learning of everything you've had to master in this lifetime. And for many people listening, for many, 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 many lifetimes, to be able to evolve and to shift and to be able to apply that to support and nurture people, because it's still people, it's just a big jump for humanity. There's so much I can say. What else can I help you with?
Could you give a little bit of insight on what you see currently for us for the future of our timeline now?
Yes. Not as many options, not as many pathways than what I was able to see from all that, well, from my perspective, from my day. So I can see from where you're at moving forward, but my talent was really about the bigger concerns and to see the big worst case scenarios than happy times. And I'm seeing that you've already experienced, without even really knowing, the bigger situations that have been happening on your planet that have shifted and shifted and shifted and shifted you again into this point in time now, where everything of the controlling systems that you are now feeling very pressurized in, um, getting to that point. And so I cannot see there being any more shifts of another bad thing happening for humanity. It is all leading into one direction, which is what you are aware of, called the shift. And it's not just the shift of consciousness; it's the shift of this planet. And so, um, you were questioning earlier, that both of you, the vehicle and you, asking about what next has to happen for it to either be more controlled or more manipulated, or what. You're questioning how this is all going to unravel. And from my position, seeing all of the options of what you have left before the shift, is there is no big dramas as such, no big control systems that are impacting you, as even though you feel like those big industries are doing what they've always been getting away with. It's really, they're disarmed, they're dispowered, they're not even functioning anymore. You're aware of the food industry suffering greatly behind the scenes. You're aware of so much that is happening. You are aware of a little bit too much, because from my perspective, you are not able to see the fear of the 3D. Not saying that fear is good, is not really advisable, it's so distracting. But it's like you've stepped over some of the emotions that many other people are going through and feeling. So you have already leaped into your perspective of 5D, and you have sort of not checked the box for emotions, drama, or nonsense. And so that's why you are feeling slightly impatient and wondering why are we still here? You've finished your marathon. You're wanting to pack up and hop on the bus and shift. And I know I'm using many analogies that I've heard before in these sessions. And this is part of me trying to say I have been very observant to the information. And as ironic as it is that this vehicle is only starting to look at my material that Dolores and I worked on over 20 years ago, how funny it is that I I knew what was happening. The work already firmly shows exactly what you have been experiencing, and now you're realizing, oh, I'm actually a cool hip guy. I did know what I was talking about, versus you thinking that I was a chauvinistic prick. Because even though in some of my words and impatientness and frustration, um, even though it was part of my time, my culture, and being a man allowed me to treat people like that, especially a man of notoriety as I was. I don't want to use that as a blame system or a getaway, excuse my behavior. I do want to say that I appreciate the information that I was receiving. And so when I was frustrated that my information was coming out gibberish, it was very frustrating. Well, it had to be somewhat in code, so it could not be censored for your time. It was frustrating for me to work with Dolores through many of her vehicles, and then and to hear how much they'd really got the translation wrong, because it did confuse Dolores, it did confuse me, and it was taking up a lot of the time. And I knew that I was not going to live longer. So even though there was no such thing as time for me, because it seemed like almost daily I was getting connections, it was not fluent for me. for my daily. I would get one day where I was having Dolores in the future, and then I was having Dolores in different years. And it was just within 1 week, I could get in sense that she was using different vehicles. She was older. She was more able to spar with me and have conversations. So I knew she was popping in different times in her life, not mine. And so I did get frustrated with the mistranslation, but also remembering the information that I was getting was so daunting. So it wasn't pleasant and it wasn't enjoyable to see the potential of humanity being so challenged because of the greed of man, the power and the manipulation and the control by a few families wanting to destroy it for everyone. And I couldn't see things from any other metaphysical picture and be able to put that into place for to be settled with the information I was getting. So I had to accept what I was getting and trust that it was significant to recall and note that down and be aware of it and to process it and not dismiss it, because I do know at the beginning I was dismissing some information I was getting because it just seemed like a horrible dream, or what's wrong with me? Why did my mind suddenly think about these horrible things? And I didn't really want to be able to share them with many people because it just sounded like I had been possessed or a man gone mad. And I did not feel like I'd gone mad. So there was a lot going on for me. And I felt a big urgency to be able to work and help write my information that I was getting. And then it was not surprising to me, but it was actually quite comforting for me to have my visitors from the future come into my mind's eye, come into my crystal glass reflection, and then be able to be in a meditative state and also have like lucid dreaming as such. So a lot of things are going on for me. Remembering that I also had to have a full-time job. I was going to say part-time job, but it really this work felt like my full-time job, and my seeing my clients and seeing my students felt like part-time. And then I had to be socially seen within society to be normal. And I think all the people listening to me now understand how challenging it is to be normal when you've got big information on your mind and in your heart, and you knowing that you have to do something about it and processing it. I hope this has answered your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's given a lot of very good insight. Um, do you have any suggestions on uh, how to accepting the right information? Not really the right information, but taking the information and then moving on. Any words of advice on there?
You're asking this because a lot of people are telling you, Joanne's words, not mine. Porkies, you're asking this because you know people are so diligently wanting to know all of the truth. They're listening to many influencers, listening to many leaders, and digesting everything as truth and getting in a big fuddle. I understand that, and I appreciate that. So my words of wisdom and advice would be to stop listening to others and listen to yourself and go within and take that time and ask your own intuition, navigate me, guide me, allow me to sense what feels light, true information, and what feels like there is something heavy and not quite 100% my truth. Of course, you can all go to the same movie and see and sense individually whole different concepts you may not be a cat person, and it is all about cats, and you may be missing your cat, or you may be thinking, I can't relate to this movie because there's no dogs in it. So regardless of how you perceive the movie, even though it's got the same storyline, the same words, the same actors, hopefully good actors, you have an interesting range of actors compared to my day. So I wanted to say that someone else's account of a movie may be quite different to your own. It is not enough of an excuse as adults to fight over that. You must respect that from your position, from your own life experiences, your own take, your own summary, your own feelings of how you perceive that movie is 100% correct for you. So you would never ask someone sitting right beside you at the end of this movie, tell me about this movie because I don't know how I feel about it. So you must ask yourself, how do I feel about that movie? What did it mean to me? And know your experience first, and then ask other people their take on it, but not feeling like you must mold your experience to others, because it cannot be. You've not lived the identical lives to be able to get you to that point to experience the movie the exact same. We're saying that potentially even Siamese twins could have completely their own individual account of that movie, because even though they're physically experiencing their lives together, their emotions are different, their interests are different, their triggers are different, their inner work is different. There's a whole lot of differences within them. And so you're all experiencing this movie of life. And so you're allowed to experience it your unique way and celebrate it. But instead of asking others how you should move forward and navigate yourself, make sure you know how it works for you, how you want to be. Do you want to be skipping or running and screaming? Is your choice. And so I want to bring it back to your actual question of how you can navigate the truth. The truth is always within you, and you can feel it whether it is resonating with you or not. And when someone is telling you what their truth is, listen to their truth, but do not adopt it as your truth, because that does not serve you. You have to experience it. I mean, you could like what their truth is and resonate with it, but really, are you to just simply be here and hear everyone else's experiences and adapt it as your own? Or are you meant to live and learn through all of these experiences by doing those experiences and feeling those things, thinking? I want to invite everyone to start thinking about their life experiences more and be actively thinking about how their solutions to life is going to be and what they're planning for life, how it all makes sense for their future. Knowing the information that everyone in these sessions have been saying about humanity's future, what are you still left to do? And what is still left on your bucket list? Because we still see many still needing to do that fun self-love.
Thank you. Thank you for those words. They are wonderful. I'm so grateful.
I just wanted to remind that when you have profound self-love, you're so stable within yourself that you do not get knocked over by other people's opinions. And there are many that are still feeling hurt, that they do not have support systems or partners that believe the same information that they do. And that is very isolating and alone. And want to ask you to consider this. Potentially, it is not their life purpose to be awakened, and that your life purpose and contract with each other is to have unconditional love, even for those who are asleep.
Yes, yes, a great message. Great message to always keep in mind. Can I ask you, Will you be on the new earth? Will you be reincarnated on the new earth?
No, I am not in the physical body. I cannot simply. I can. Uh, I have evolved even beyond. So I am an ascended master, what you would call now. So with much love and gratitude to the fifth dimension, it does not hold much interest for me in my growth at this point. I have been part of helping humanity awaken to be able to see that they are powerful, to be able to see that they can navigate themselves as a collective teamwork and supporting humanity to get to have the bigger picture of unconditionally loving each other, to be able to arrive and to get and make that shift to the new earth. And so while I would say I would love to come and visit anyone that wants to call me in, and I will, I am now on my other path, which is helping more planets prepare for their ascensions, because many planets at this time actually need a lot of support and encouragement and awakening of various different reasons and purposes.
Okay, thank you. Um, could you tell us what did you find that was interesting from our last session? You had mentioned it.
Mm. Yes, when I was scanning Joanne's mind, I was very curious. I had not actually had much connections to this country. So I was scanning and amusing myself with what is here and what has been happening. Because, as I said earlier, my skill set was really seeing the big challenges ahead and really understanding that, because that seemed to be the most appropriate to use my skill sets for. And just like how you ladies feel like using this work for your gossip sessions is a little bit misuseful of this power. It is not, just like I was so busy, however, I did not get to have either nor the gossip sessions nor the experiences of other places. So I did take that opportunity now to do that then. So that's why I was so distracted. Also, I had traveled on some of the same locations that Joanne had. And so I was matching what I know of those locations to what she saw and felt. And so that was incredible to experience that from my perspective. And I just was scanning so much to understand. Of course, with my linear life, I will say that it's linear for me, but it's not really linear for you folk who keep coming to my door. Enter in when you please. It is all fine, but you do get me at different times of my own evolution, in my own maturity, my own growth. And so you have asked to come in when I was, you said not too old, but I say that 52, 53 is a good age. And I'm just pondering my age, because it doesn't really matter to me, such numbers. Um, and so I'm having to ponder myself what my age is, because you get to a certain point that you just don't seem to really be fussed about birthdays as such. So regardless, I did find it interesting. I was scanning more when I was speaking to Joanne directly, her yesterday. It was from a younger perspective, which is quite astounding as I think of that now. I was speaking to her yesterday, but yet for me, It was quite a lot of years distant. It is magical. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now I am starting to get into my own head and thinking about this. Um, so yes, it's very, very, very interesting. Sorry. Um, so there's lots to explore. While I want to use my talents and gifts to be able to help humanity from this perspective, it is interesting because I could say that this vehicle has the same purpose, the same drive and desire. um, I do say that I did have the harder job because having to see all of the gruesome things, and all the worry and all the serious situations that I could foresee for humanity's future. That was very challenging because I felt so powerless. The only thing I could do was keep my body, my vehicle clean and clear. So when I needed to write my contracts to think about how was the best way to get this information so it can move forward into the future and get some support. This vehicle was wondering before if there had been others prior to Dolores tapping me, asking me to explain myself in a metaphysical way. And while there had been some attempts, uh, earlier versions of Dolores and earlier versions of yourself, and also later versions of yourself coming to message me and connect with me, because as you are aware, this is Joanne's fourth time connecting with me. This is Erica's second time connecting with me, but this is my eighth time connecting with you.
You meaning Joe or you meaning me?
I'm meaning Mr. Nostradamus.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the clarification. I think, do you have any messages for us for today?
I see you as very lucky and a great vantage point being in humanity's position at this time. I do want to say that you are correct with the beings who you are assuming were taking on the role of smaller parts of the Antichrist's position. I was seeing the bigger role, who is no longer alive, who I did say to Joanne the name. And you are right about the others you are thinking of today being different parts of smaller versions of the Antichrist. And as I said to Joanne last year, that it was part of not your concern anymore because the Antichrist is no longer alive. And I invite the vehicle to listen back to that session. She will hear much more this time than she did at the experience of having that session. So it is all, as you know, many of these people are no longer a part of your current day systems because they have already been dealt with. And so I still stand true to what I had said to her last year, that the Antichrist is no longer alive. And what the Antichrist was referring to is not just one man, but has referred to many. And I am confirming to you now again that they are no longer walking this planet.
Thank you for that confirmation. I have one more question. Could you tell me if you still see, or what you can tell me about 2087 with a mission at that time?
Well, that was the old timeline that is not in your current timeline. And so that was referring to a space mission where humans were able to to ascend off and be able to look for new, looking to see if they can colonize somewhere new that is not the current timeline you are in. So that will not occur for you. But when I saw it, they had gone through the harder challenges of the bigger Antichrist's behavior, as being the one single man who was controlling a lot. And there was a lot of different things. I cannot see any of the dramas and the stress and the controls in your future. It is so cleared now, and it has given me great hope and great comfort, actually, to see your lives so clear of that. And while I understand you are still feeling that the majority of your planet is still asleep and not seeing all of the bigger pictures of these situations at hand, again, they don't need to. Your experience for this movie is yours alone, and you are okay with that, and it's purposeful for you. And the people around you need to see their movie as something quite different for all those lessons and experiences that they need. And so enjoy your popcorn, but I do not want to use it as that reference that has already been overplayed. It is just enjoying the physical ability to eat. It is about just minding your own business, being entertained with no worries. Notice not that many people are allowed to, sorry, I'm not going to, not that many people eat when they're completely stressed and worried. It is referencing to that. So when you're in a happy mood, a celebrative mood, you're snacking on treats. And so popcorn is a treat. And so this is why I'm using this analogy, because you should be enjoying, you should be having fun, not. I am hearing myself be repeated back, but it is not the voice that I am used to. So that is very interesting, because I'm so in my head right now. To hear my words be repeated by a female is quite unusual.
This is fascinating. Do you have any messages for Joe that you'd like to share? Here.
As I've made you aware of now, when I am hearing myself speak out loud, it is in my totality and my energy frequency that I sense myself as being. Of course, I do not speak this language, but I do not sense that I am speaking the other language that you are speaking and hearing right now, because it is frequency and energy. So what I'm emoting to her at my desk is quite different. But it's I am not speaking out loud to her in my office. I am expressing and sharing my thoughts with her, and that has been translated into her body's language. So it is interesting for me to have heard that, because I was not aware. Didn't really notice that I was not speaking in my masculine voice and in the language that I speak. So it was very distracting and interesting at the same time. But then Joanne is saying that to me, that this is exactly what happens when she's speaking to the high dimensional beings. Because, oh, that's interesting. She doesn't think I'm a higher dimensional being. She's just basically said I'm not a high dimensional being. Well, that's just okay. Well, that's fair enough. I am what I am. But I do want to say that if she did want to tap into my higher dimensional being as an ascended master, she's more than welcome to. So therefore, I have just let you know that I'm a multi-dimensional being, and this is just one fraction of me, and she can actually not compare me to not being a high dimensional being, because I'm quite comfortable being what I am. So I've made that very clear to everyone now. And I feel pretty chuffed with that comeback because I'm mastering and owning who I am and grasping being a multidimensional being as well. So I'm growing just like everyone else. So I'm pretty proud of myself with that statement. And I'm just sharing that with you. So what Joanne was referring to was that the other multidimensional beings that are not on this planet, yes, that's the most appropriate term, yes, they are not on this planet, they are multidimensional beings of an advanced dimension, and they do not speak English either. And so it is just, it is signature frequency communication of telepathic sensory that this is all happening and we're communicating this way. So, wow, that was something I really did want to know as well, but hadn't really pondered it as such. So that is fantastic. Of course, I understood that Dolores was not able to read my writing, not because of my penmanship, but because of, it was a different language, but because my original texts were not able to be, not all of them were able to be saved. They had been, actually, that is very interesting. More of my work had actually been saved than publicly known. And as you were referring to before, there is very big private collections of very important documents all around the world that are secret and hidden. But there are bigger places with more concentrated, and the Vatican City is one of them. And so you're also talking about that. And so now I'm sensing, me being Mr. Nostradamus, that this is intriguing. I'm very intrigued now. Okay, I am being distracted with scanning too much now. So I wanted to go back to my last statement. Did you have another question for me?
My last question was just if you had any messages for Joanne at this time here publicly.
Well, I've given her some homework to listen to the last session from last year, and also to be able to give her more insight into the connection of her and I, and a little bit more of her confirmation of her life purpose to some degree. So you've got that to ponder. And I was expecting to translate more of my quatrains. So if you wanted to get yourselves a little bit more organized for next time, I'm more than willing to translate some more for you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time today, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see which time if it's in my past or in my future. Thank you very much, and enjoy your time, because there is nothing that deserves anything but happiness and lightheartedness, because from my perspective, everything is completely as it should be, and it should be celebrations all around.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to say I'm out now. Sometimes when he pretends not to be as chauvinistic, he is. Did you notice that at the end, telling us that we've got homework?
He was he was accepting himself.
It was so strange because he could hear the sounds, and he was very aware that that's the sound, because I realized that's not what I'm feeling and hearing when I'm embodying them. So it's really strange because I'm so detached from the conversation. Really, I'm minding my own business and being so disconnected from thinking and feeling. And so all of a sudden, he was like sort of shocked that he could hear this repeat. and he suddenly wanted to know. He thought you were mocking him at first, and it was like, and repeating him, and he was kind of wanting to like not scold you, but he was kind of like, why are you doing that? And then he actually realized what was happening was feedback. And I guess, we're dealing with new technology because Dolores wasn't using Zoom to connect with him. So that was really interesting. And yeah, he's did I don't know what he was referring when he was saying it was 2 times for you, 4 times for Joe to connect with him, and then he said 8 times for him. I don't know what he said to refer to me, but did it sound a bit confusing when he was explaining that?
I think it was confusing when he was saying it, but now that I'm sitting here and listening to you just explain it, it makes sense. Like, because this is the second time I've ever connected to him here. We've been talking a few times, and he's saying that he has connected to you. I thought he said has connected to you 8 times. So that's a good question to ask next.
Yeah, when he said that, it was us. When so he was like, Erica, you have connected to him 2 times. He's connected to Joe 4 times, but he's connected to us in the day he's 8 times. So I guess we've got some more work to do. And yeah, I love how he's like, and the quadrants would be quite helpful to be into. Anyway, okay. Actually, I'm going to stop recording because this is just chit chat that doesn't need to be covered. Bye, everybody.